Hey everyone, it's Short Fiction Friday. This week I read 3 short stories: The Birds by Daphne Du Maurier, The Veiled Lady by Agatha Christie, and Waco by George C. Chesbro. Just before I get into the reviews, it's Boxing Day today. Hopefully everyone's had a happy holiday season. All right, the first thing I read this week was The Birds by Daphne Du Maurier. This short story was first published in 1952 in The Apple Tree, which is an anthology of Du Maurier's short stories. I'm sure most people are familiar with the basic plot here. Essentially, birds start acting strange and attacking people. It's really a very simple story. Our main character, Nat Hocken, notices that birds are acting strangely and flocking very densely. There seems to be many of them. A bunch of small birds like sparrows and finches start attacking his house and attacking his children. Because he's seen this, he takes the threat of the birds a lot more seriously than the other characters in the story. Nat is a lot more prepared. And the story is just about him protecting his family, boarding up his house, stockpiling food, that kind of thing. The structure of it really reminded me of George Romero's zombie movies, especially the first one, Night of the Living Dead. And maybe I'm wrong here, but it did read like an extended metaphor for war and kind of the uncertainty of war. These characters are locked in their house and they're just listening to the radio, desperate for more information about what's happening in the rest of the country. Yeah, this was quite good, and I am looking forward to reading more Daphne Du Maurier in future. I have Jamaica in and Rebecca here, so I'll definitely try to read one of those soon. Okay, the next thing I read was The Veiled Lady by Agatha Christie. This was first published in The Sketch in October 1923. So this is a Perrault short story. I hope I'm not butchering that name. I don't watch the TV show or the movies or anything. Perrault is asked by a veiled lady, right, the title character, to help her out. This lady is apparently being blackmailed. So the idea is that she's getting married very soon, but apparently in her youth, she wrote some love letters to another man. These letters have somehow fallen into the hands of another man who is now blackmailing her and threatening to send the letters to her soon-to-be husband. Right, so these are scandalous letters, and she's asking Perrault for help. Now, I've only read one Agatha Christie thing before. I forget what that was called now. 3-act play, or play in 3 parts, or something like that. I enjoyed this short story a lot more than that particular novel. I was surprised to find Perrault is a lot more proactive in this one. In this short story, he's almost like a hard-boiled detective or something, because he breaks into this blackmailer's house to go try to find the letter. I don't know, is Perrault usually like that? I got the impression Perrault was one of these guys that kind of just interviewed people and figured things out using his smarts only. So yeah, this was interesting that he appears to be bending the law quite a bit in this one. Yeah, this short story goes through a couple of twists and turns, and it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it. All right, the last thing I read this week was Waco by George C. Chesbro. And yes, this is about the Branch Davidians and the burning of the compound. Our character Raymond, who is a Branch Davidian, is lamenting his situation, and he starts asking for help from God. and then God appears before him, or at least a vision of God appears before him as a vulture. And the vulture talks to him, and they kind of have a silly conversation. Now, potential bad taste issues aside, this does read like it was written by an unfunny uncle. I found the attempts at humor pretty lame. But personally, I usually find wacky humor stuff in books or short stories to be not to my taste and usually missing the mark completely. So yeah, this one was not good. I do have some other Chesbro books around here though, so I'm still interested to check out his other work. All right, and ranking the short stories now, I'll put up my top 15 short stories that I've read. Making the list this week will be The Birds. I really quite enjoyed this one, but at 36 pages, it did feel maybe a little bit meandering. I'm not going to put it really high on the list. Let's make it number 11, just under Robert Bloch. The Agatha Christie story I thought was good, but it's not top 15. And Chesbro, that story was quite bad. That's definitely not making the list. It would be towards the bottom. All right, let's pick some short stories for next week. The way this works is very simple. This is book 1 here through to book 6 here. The 6-sided die selects the book, and the 12-sided die selects the short story within the book. All right, first roll. We've got 3 and 6. Spellbinders in suspense. So I put little pencil marks for all the short stories that I've read, and you'll notice that there's not 6 stories left in this book. So I'm just going to pick the last one, The Dilemma of Grandpa Dubois by Claire and Michelle Lipman. Hope I said those names right. And that is a short 6 pages. All right, second roll. 3 and 8. Wow, I'm going to be done with this Hitchcock book soon. Okay, so the second last one there is Black Magic by Sax Roma, which is 15 pages. Good, looking forward to reading some Sax Roma. We're at 21 pages total. I keep rolling the dice until I get to 50 pages or more. Third roll. 6 and 4. Okay, so I'm skipping past the ones with pencil marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's Refrigerator Heaven by David J. Show. That's 14 pages, which takes us to 35 pages total. Okay, fourth roll. 3 and 4. Seem to be getting Hitchcock a lot. We're reading Eyewitness by Robert Arthur. That's 15 pages, which takes us to exactly 50 pages total. All right, I'll put the 4 short stories up on the screen here. Go read these short stories if you can. I'm most looking forward to Sax Roma. Yeah, I guess I'm just intrigued by him. And Fu Manchu. All right, I'll see you all next week, which will be the first episode of 2026. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.